So let's talk Buffalo Bills. So Claypool is an interesting signing, but he's a guy who's underachieved everywhere else he goes. My first thought was if the Bills have built enough culture in that locker room with a run of success that they've had to find the key to success with this guy.
I mean, I guess it's possible, right? Like, the Bills are doing something they haven't done since McDermott and Brandon Beane have taken over, and that's rolling the dice on guys that have been problems in other places, right? Like, you heard those rumors about Stephon Diggs, but it was a minor thing compared to not only Claypool coming in the room, and not that he's had problems off the field, but he's a guy that has been labeled as selfish. He's a guy that's been labeled as not trying hard out on the field. They also signed Quintez Cephas from the Lions. Don't forget, he's the guy that was suspended an entire year last year after a violation of the sports gambling policy of the NFL. In my humble opinion, years ago, the Bills would not have gone near these guys. They must think enough of the culture in that locker room, to the point that you made, that it's not going to affect things on the outside. To answer your question about turning these guys into like talented number one wide receivers, I wouldn't hold my breath. I mean, with Claypool, I don't think there's a guarantee that he's on the opening day roster. It's just as many pulls at the lottery, at the slot machine as you can get right now. Yeah. With receivers.
It's just physically, he does all these things. The problem that Duffy brings up, I think, is compounded by the fact that all the guys that the Bills released in the offseason, a lot of these guys were captains and leaders and stuff. They're actually looking to see who succeeds these guys as leaders.
Well, I mean, that's the other concern, too. And I know we've mentioned before who the number one is. I'm sure you don't think it's going to be Claypool through your last statement, but who is going to be that vocal leader? Is it going to be now more on Josh Allen to be that guy to say, hey, you go here, you go there, play the point guard position, what the quarterback does anyway? I'm a little concerned now. Like, you don't have too many other draft picks out there. Maybe through trade before the start of the NFL season, or maybe a guy gets cut that you bring in, it's a veteran, it's a good receiver.
I think what you're looking at is what they're going to go forward with. I think that now you're shifting your belief that your tight ends are going to run your offense, much like we've seen with, New England back in the day and the Kansas City Chiefs the last couple of years. And I think that this team legitimately believes that Josh Allen is talented enough to make anybody that is playing wide receiver a legitimate threat. Vegas seems to agree, seeing as how the Bills still have, third best odds for an AFC championship right now, behind only Kansas City and Baltimore?
Yeah. This is going to sound sacrilegious to you, but take it for what it's worth. Do you think the Bills wish a little bit more of Tom Brady on Josh Allen in terms of make this your team, be a little more vocal, and take charge?
Oh, I think he does. I think what we don't see is him doing that. He's a guy that nobody ever really messes with, right? You saw what happened with Stephon Diggs, and he's gone. Like, the entire fan base and really the rest of the team seems to have turned on him. He says all the right things in public. He does all the right things in public.
No one ever got in Brady's face like Diggs got into Allen.
Yes, you're right, but you got to remember, Josh...
It's the other way around.
Josh Allen had only been in the league 4 years at that point, right? Stephon Diggs is the one that has the veteran presence there. Mm-hmm. You're in a really weird situation, and it also happened 3 weeks after a man had died on the field in front of them. It was a very weird spot.
I find it interesting, though, even with Tom Brady, who had a number one in Randy Moss, did not win a Super Bowl that year. They almost went perfect. That's when the Giants ruined that Super Bowl. So kudos to the Giants for that. But
you get all your teams in every show.
I always find a way to do it. I can't. But the funniest thing about this whole situation is that you want to take less of the pressure off of Josh Allen. It seems that during this offseason, they're putting more pressure on Josh Allen, and I just got a bad feeling about it.
Look, I understand where you're coming from, but if you're paying this guy all this money, and he is this unicorn of a talent, which he is. He's a unicorn. Find me another player in the league that plays like Josh Allen.
And I think it's time.
Right? Let's see what he can do here.
His age, his experience, everything falling into place. You've taken Diggs out of the equation. You brought in, you got kids. It's time for him to make this his team.
And that's a good point. The fact of the matter is this. You can shake your head all you want. The Bills went 6-1 down the stretch to have the second overall seed, with Stephon Diggs pretty much disappearing on the field over the last 7 games. He showed he doesn't need that guy catching balls to be successful.
He grabbed the attention of defensive teams that led other players to do well. What happens when he's not there?
I can't wait.